There is a point where returning to something is not repetition, but correction. Not because the idea itself was unclear, and not because something new needs to be added, but because the position from which it is being held has not remained stable. This is where most structures fail, not in how they are explained, but in how they are maintained. This is chapter 15 of the Corpus Hermeticum. It does not extend the system. It does not introduce a new principle. Instead, it returns to one of the most fundamental distinctions that has already been established: the relationship between mind and sense. And the reason it returns is not because it needs further explanation, but because it is still being misapplied. If you have been following this series properly, then this distinction is already familiar. You have already seen that what appears is not self-sufficient. You have already seen that sense engages only with what presents itself as form, and that thought, when grounded in sense, remains confined to that field. You have already seen that mind is not part of that process, but the condition that allows it. So before continuing, follow the channel and go back through the earlier chapters if needed, because this one depends entirely on that structure being clear. Without it, this chapter will feel repetitive. With it, the repetition becomes precise. What this chapter addresses is not whether the distinction has been understood, but whether it is being held. Because even after it has been recognized, the tendency is still to return to sense as the foundation. Not deliberately and not in a way that feels like an error, but in a way that feels natural, stable, and convincing. Perception does not stop. It continues to present what appears as immediate, structured, and complete. Thought continues to operate in response to that presentation, organizing, interpreting, and reinforcing what is visible. And without recognition, it grounds itself in that appearance again, treating it as sufficient. This is where everything begins to shift without being noticed, because nothing appears to break. Understanding still functions, systems still operate, explanations still hold together, but the position has changed, and once that happens, everything is being interpreted from within appearance again, rather than in relation to what underlies it. This is what the chapter is correcting, not by expanding the explanation, but by cutting directly into the way it is being lost in real time. Because the problem has never been perception itself. It has never been the world, or what appears within it. The problem is where thought is grounded. And unless that is held with precision, everything that has already been established begins to narrow again, not through contradiction, but through quiet return to what feels immediate. This is where the chapter begins. Not by building the structure again, but by exposing exactly where it is slipping. And that is what has to be seen. Once something has been seen clearly, there is an immediate assumption that it will remain clear. That understanding, once established, carries itself forward. That recognition creates stability on its own. This assumption is rarely questioned because it feels intuitive. If something is understood, then it is known. And if it is known, then it should not need to be revisited. The text does not support this, because understanding is not the same as holding position. What has been established across the earlier chapters is structurally simple, but simplicity does not guarantee stability. What appears is not self-sufficient. Thought must not be grounded in sense. Mind is the condition that allows both perception and thought. These are not complex conclusions, and they do not require development or refinement. But they do require continuity. Because the conditions that produce misalignment do not stop once something has been understood. Perception continues without interruption. It continues to present what appears as immediate, structured, and complete. Thought continues to respond to that presentation, organizing it, interpreting it, and reinforcing its apparent coherence. Attention continues to move toward what is visible, what is tangible, what is immediate. This creates a constant re-entry point into the same structure that has already been shown to be incomplete. And this re-entry does not feel like a mistake. That is what makes it difficult to recognize. It feels like normal cognition. It feels like clarity. It feels like the same process that allowed understanding to arise in the first place. But what has shifted is not the ability to understand, it is the position from which understanding is operating. When thought aligns again with sense, everything narrows without appearing to do so. What appears begins to take on the role of foundation again. What is visible becomes what is treated as real. What is not visible becomes less immediate, less relevant, and eventually excluded from the structure of understanding. This does not happen through rejection, it happens through omission. And because omission does not disrupt functionality, it is rarely noticed. The system still works, thought still operates. Explanations still hold together. But they are operating within a closed boundary. And that boundary is not recognized as a boundary. This is why the same error does not resolve. Not because it has not been explained, but because it is being reintroduced continuously through the way perception and thought interact. Each time thought grounds itself in what appears without recognizing what underlies it, the same structure forms again. This is not a failure of knowledge. It is not a lack of understanding. It is a failure of position. And unless that position is recognized as it shifts, the return to sense as foundation becomes complete again, and the entire structure collapses back into appearance without ever appearing to do so. This is what the chapter is addressing. Not the idea, but the movement. Sense does not present itself as partial. This is what makes it so convincing, and this is what makes it so difficult to question. It does not indicate that something is missing. It does not reveal its own limitation. Within its own domain, it appears complete. What is perceived is structured. Forms are distinct. Relationships between forms can be identified and understood. Patterns emerge, and those patterns can be used to predict, to explain, and to organize experience. Everything within that field operates with a level of consistency that reinforces trust. This is not accidental. It is the nature of sense. Sense engages with what appears. It provides access to variation, to difference, to form. It allows navigation within the field of becoming. And because it performs this function effectively, it creates the impression that nothing lies beyond it. This is where the limitation becomes invisible. Because nothing within the field of sense suggests that it is incomplete. There is no internal contradiction. There is no failure that points beyond itself. Everything that appears can be accounted for within its own structure. But what it cannot account for is what allows it to function at all. It does not reach what does not appear. It does not engage with what does not change. It does not recognize the condition that allows appearance to occur. And because that condition does not present itself as form, it is not included in the structure of perception. This is not a flaw. It is a boundary. But that boundary is not perceived as a boundary. It is experienced as the whole. This is where distortion begins. Not because something incorrect is introduced, but because something essential is excluded without being recognized as excluded. What is missing is not visible, so it is not considered. And because it is not considered, it is not included in the structure of understanding. When thought aligns with sense, it inherits this limitation. Everything it produces remains within the field of appearance. It organizes, refines, and explains what is perceived, but it does not extend beyond it. It does not reach what underlies it. This creates a form of clarity that feels complete, but is structurally limited. This is what must be seen clearly. Not that sense is unreliable, but that it is insufficient as foundation. It provides content, but it does not provide condition. It presents form, but it does not account for what allows form to appear. And unless this is recognized, thought continues to treat what appears as though it was self-sufficient. This is the point at which the structure closes in on itself, not through error, but through completeness that is only apparent. The correction does not require the introduction of anything new. It does not involve altering perception, changing the world, or stepping away from what appears. Nothing external needs to be modified. The correction is entirely positional. Thought must no longer be grounded in sense. It must recognize what underlies sense and hold what appears in relation to that. This is a simple shift, but it has total consequence. Because once thought is no longer confined to what appears, the entire structure opens. What is perceived remains exactly as it was. Forms do not disappear. Variation does not stop. Experience continues to unfold in the same way, but the way it is held changes completely. What appears is no longer treated as complete. It is recognized as dependent. It is understood as something that relies on what does not appear, rather than something that exists on its own. This restores the relationship that has been described throughout the earlier chapters. What changes is held in relation to what does not change. What appears is understood in relation to what allows it to appear. This is what removes distortion. Not by adding clarity, but by removing the assumption that what appears is sufficient. This shift does not require effort because it does not involve constructing anything. It does not unfold over time because it does not involve development. It is immediate because it is the removal of an incorrect position. But it does require recognition, because without recognition, the default position returns. And when it returns, the same structure forms again, and the same limitation becomes invisible again. This is why the correction is applied again here. Not because it was not understood, but because it was not held. And this is where precision becomes necessary, not in the explanation, in the position. The return to sense as foundation does not occur as a clear transition. It is not marked by a moment that can be easily identified. It develops gradually through small shifts that do not appear significant on their own. Thought does not abandon what has been established. It leans back into what is familiar. It begins to rely more heavily on what is visible, what is immediate, what is consistent within perception. This does not feel like a change in position. It feels like continuity. This is what makes it difficult to recognize, because nothing seems to break. Understanding continues, interpretation continues. The system remains coherent, but it is operating within a narrower field. This is how drift stabilizes, not through contradiction, but through repetition of the same alignment. Thought continues to ground itself in sense, and because sense continues to function, that alignment appears valid. This is why recognition must be continuous, not as effort and not as a task, but as awareness of position. When thought begins to treat what appears as sufficient, the shift has already begun. When what is visible becomes what is taken as real, the structure is narrowing again. When what does not appear is no longer held within understanding, it has already been excluded. Seeing this as it happens prevents it from stabilizing. Not by stopping it, but by recognizing that it does not hold in the same way once it is seen clearly. The assumption that what appears is sufficient loses its force when it is recognized as incomplete. This is what maintains the structure. Not control, not repetition, not effort, but clarity of position as it shifts. Because the conditions that produce the drift do not stop, recognition cannot stop either. Without it, the return to sense becomes complete again, and the underlying condition disappears from the structure of understanding. This is where everything is either held or lost, not in what is known, but in how it is held. This chapter does not extend the system. It does not introduce a new principle, and it does not add complexity to what has already been established. Everything remains exactly as it was. What has been addressed is the instability in how it is held. The distinction between mind and sense is not difficult to understand. It does not require deep analysis or extended reasoning, but it does require precision in position. And without that precision, the entire structure returns to appearance. When thought is grounded in sense, everything is interpreted within what appears. What is visible becomes what is treated as real. What is not visible becomes excluded. The system remains coherent, but it is incomplete. When thought remains aligned with what underlies sense, appearance is held correctly. It is recognized as dependent. It is understood in relation to what allows it to exist, and the structure remains intact. This is the entire movement of the chapter. Not expansion, correction, not development, stability. Because once this position is held consistently, nothing else is required. The system does not need further explanation. It does not need additional layers. It requires only that it is not replaced by what has already been shown to be incomplete. This is what the chapter leaves in place. Not something to build, something to not lose. Because what has been established does not change. Only the position from which it is held does. And that is the only thing that matters here.